Welcome to the Pulse League of Legends edition. Today we're going to take a look at industry updates, team moves, tournament recaps, interviews with Riot and CLG, current trends in the metagame, and upcoming events. I'm Joshua Clutch Gray. Joining me on the set is my co-host, Dan the Man Frodan Cho. Dan, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Josh. I'm really excited to be here. I think we have lots of great content for the League of Legends community today, and I'm really excited for it to get underway.
All right, well, we're not experts in League of Legends, but we're huge fans, and I'm so excited to talk about all of the shifts in the metagame and also the huge tournaments that have been happening. I mean, CLG has talked with us about the CSL event, the amateur scene growing, so there's plenty to cover. But first off, we're going to talk about industry news, and that is Zach, this champion that has just been announced. Now, Zach is not out yet, but he is going to fill two different roles, at least from the details of Riot. First up, he's going to be a jungler, and his abilities allow for AoE damage and self-healing, making him a viable jungler. He also fits in top lane because of his AoE against minions, along with elastic slingshot ability, adding mobility to Zach to get the gank. Now, in team fights, Zach is most desired for his crowd control. Now, Riot has been expanding its lore more and more for the different champions. When it comes to Zach, he's actually a Zuan experiment. Zach is actually an acronym which stands for the Zuan Amorphous Combatant. He was raised by two caring scientists, which pretty much means thinking Superman meets Slimer from Ghostbusters. Dan, why don't you detail some of the different moves that Zach is able to do?
Yeah, I think Zach is a really interesting, unique champion that Riot has put out. Of course, the stretching strike gives him a lot of ability to do almost everything combined with his passive in lane. It gives him a little bit of sustain, a little bit of poke. He can engage too because he has his gap closers like you were mentioning. His ultimate looks so funny. The less bounce ultimate just makes it look really cool. I think Riot designed him really well artistically as well as functionally. The only thing is that Riot right now is currently trying to tweak some of his numbers because scaling off a percentage of your health in order to activate your ability might be a little bit tricky because, I mean, you sacrifice so much in order to get into your opponent's face and engage on them.
Well, not every champion is perfect when it comes out, but he does look like a lot of fun. And I just can't help thinking of Flubber or Slimer looking at him, man. So that's going to have a little bit of
this guy is Flubber meets Majin Buu.
A little bit of nuance for him. Well, another champion has some changes coming her way. She's a bit of a classic one, though. And her name is Karma. And I'm not talking about Reddit posts, guys. I'm talking about Karma, the champion. She's going to have a new kit and a new role. Originally, she was planned as a support. Now, players have been using her for top or for AP mid, sometimes even jungle. Riot liked this decision and wants to encourage players to build AP when playing as Karma, holding their own as a solo champ or as a lane partner. Now, when it comes to the lore, she still holds the title as the Enlightened One, as one of the figureheads of the Ionian resistance against Noxia. She is currently available, I believe, in the public beta environment. You can definitely check her out. Dan, what are some of the different abilities or some of the changes that you like so far for her?
Obviously, one of the biggest limitations to Karma for a long time was, how does he deal with the mantra charges? How are you going to build it up? I like that she can kind of reduce them based off auto attacks as well as using the abilities. I think that's really important. I mean, they're obviously tweaking the way her resolve works as well. It's working more kind of like a LeBlanc offensive chain. If they stay in the chain, they get locked down, and from there they receive damage. I'm really interested to see where it's going to go because I think Karma is always underplayed, and when you bring that underplayed champion to potentially a pro match, you're always in for cool surprises.
Yeah, we never see her in the LCS at all. I mean, she's like never played. So this is, I think, some of the
even solo queue, man. I never see her at all. I get a lot of reports right after that.
I remember her about a year ago, and I was like, what is this champion? I haven't played her yet, and I'm really looking forward to the changes, and I think it's really good that Riot notices some of the trends of champions that are almost completely ignored, going back, seeing what's wrong or what they can change, and putting some new energy into this champion, so I'm looking forward to that as well. Let's talk about ARAM, all random, all mid, one of the game types that people really been enjoying. It's going to get an update, not in terms of really changes on how it's played, but the map itself. A new map is going to be released in a few patches. It is called the Howling Abyss. This is part of the Fjord lore for all those lore fanatics when it comes to League of Legends. And also, they're going to add matchmaking. What this means, if you dodge a Q for ARAM in the future, you're going to get penalized. And, I don't think it's going to really tie into the ELO settings, but what's nice about this is it makes more of a structure for this kind of game type that a lot of people are really enjoying.
Yeah, rather than flooding the custom game lobbies or even just trying to gather some with your friends, because you always feel like you're missing one or two with the custom game lobbies. You don't feel like you can have the full 10. This way, matchmaking is what people have been asking for a long time, and Riot's given to them.
All right, Riot listens to their community. And not finally, one more piece of news after this. League of Legends is playable on a Macintosh computer. Now, for all those people that love to check Facebook or edit their videos, they now have access to the Mac Open Beta for League of Legends. Now, this is big news because so many people have not really gotten into the world of PC gaming. Of course, you know, they're console gamers or they really haven't gotten to that kind of sphere. And gaming has really been prominent on PC games. But we've seen some different titles released on the Mac recently, and now League of Legends is one of them. So, more player base means more people playing the most popular game in the world, I say. Pretty good news.
Definitely. And it's definitely the cheapest thing that come to Mac in a long time.
All right. Well, I mean, Macs are great. We use Macs to edit all of our segments, and, you know, the gaming world is getting bigger and bigger with Macintosh users. Now, in our final piece of news for the industry update, the 3.04 patch has been released. Looking at some of the changes, this patch will affect Elise, Janna, Jarvan IV, Nami, Singed, and Taric, along with multiple items, most of which are gold costs. Now, if you want the full patch notes, make sure to visit the website, leagueoflegends.com, or for a side-by-side comparison, a great website out there, reignofgaming.net. This is part of the Curse website. They give you a side-by-side comparison. It's really detailed, and you get to see the changes that you think are going to most affect your gameplay. So definitely check them out. All right, moving over to team updates. First off, Azubu, one of the biggest newcomers, I would say, in the world of esports, but making a lot of changes and a lot of headway when it comes to sponsoring. They're now sponsoring Taipei Assassins and Taipei Snipers. Now, Assassins were Season 2 world champions. Both teams are based in Taiwan. Azubu has signed them for a 2-year contract, Dan. It's pretty cool.
Yep. Also want to give shout-outs to Reckles, rather, because he has freckles. Reckles, now on Fnatic Beta, that's formed a new team, as well as Velocity Esports, which recently this weekend took second at MLG, formed with Chris and some of the other top players, NNA. All these new teams are coming up. I'm really excited to see how everyone's going to prepare for the summer promotion qualifiers that everyone wants a spot in the LCS. Everyone
does want a spot in the LCS for sure, man. And looking at the amount of professionalism from these different teams and how much Riot is so invested in making such a professional scenario. It's really exciting to seeing that in the world of esports and what Riot is doing. So we're going to take a quick little break. When we come back, we're going to detail the IEM World Championship plus MLG and the LCS EU Week 5. Don't go anywhere. You're watching The Pulse, League of Legends Edition.
I'm Dustin Beck. I'm the VP of Esports here at Riot Games, and you are watching The Pulse.